My dear friends, there is a kind of silence that feels louder than noise, a kind of loneliness that weighs more than a crowd, and a kind of strength that is born only inside a woman who learns how to live without the man she once relied on. Today, I want to talk about that woman. The woman who wakes up every morning with no one asking, "Are you okay?" The woman who goes to sleep with no shoulder to rest on. The woman who stands in the battlefield of life alone, yet unbroken. Life doesn't always hand us what we hope for. Sometimes the person we believed would walk beside us forever steps away, halfway through the journey. Sometimes the man who promised to protect her heart is the very one who leaves it in pieces. But listen closely. A woman's greatest power is not found in being loved by a man. Her greatest power is found in discovering who she really is when she has to walk on her own. A woman in solitude is not a weak woman. She is becoming. The universe is shaping her, refining her, strengthening her. When no one is there to hold her up, she learns how to stand. When no one is there to encourage her, she learns how to encourage herself. When no one dries her tears, she learns how to turn those tears into understanding. And when the world tells her she cannot survive without a man, she smiles and says, "Watch me." Sometimes solitude is not a punishment. Sometimes it is an invitation to meet yourself, an invitation to rise, an invitation to build a life so full that even loneliness feels out of place. Let me share something important. A woman who learns to live alone does not become cold. She becomes deeper. She becomes wiser. She becomes someone who no longer chases love, but chooses it with self-respect. And that, my dear friends, is the moment everything changes. It is the day she understands she was never truly alone. She had faith, she had strength, and she had herself. That is the day she becomes unstoppable. So to every woman listening, if you are moving through solitude, if you feel left behind, if you feel unseen, remember this. Your solitude is not destroying you. It is shaping you. Let the world see the fire in your silence. Let the world see the courage in your calm. Let the world see the woman who walks alone, yet walks like an entire army. When a woman rises from loneliness, she becomes a force that even destiny respects. So stand tall, breathe fully, walk without fear. You are not empty, you are growing, you are not abandoned, you are becoming extraordinary. And one day, when life brings the right person into your path, he will not meet a broken woman. He will meet a woman who rebuilt herself, stronger than ever. This is the power of a woman's solitude, not her weakness, but her rebirth. When people hear the word solitude, they often imagine sadness, emptiness, and pain. But the truth is very different. Solitude is life's quiet classroom, where the most powerful lessons are taught without words. It is not a prison where a woman is trapped. It is a workshop where she is rebuilt, refined, strengthened, and awakened. Think about a seed for a moment. When a seed is placed in the soil, it is surrounded by darkness. It is alone. No sunlight reaches it. No one sees it. From the outside, it may look buried, forgotten, or hidden, but inside that darkness, something important is happening. Transformation begins. The seed breaks open. New life pushes forward. Roots grow. Strength forms. Growth starts in silence. A seed must pass through solitude in the soil to rise above the ground. Without that quiet darkness, it would never become a tree. This is what happens inside a woman's heart. When she enters a season of solitude, maybe after heartbreak, maybe after betrayal, maybe after a man who promised her everything decides to leave, she feels like a seed buried deep in the soil. Lost. Alone. Surrounded by darkness. What she doesn't see yet is that life is not hurting her. Life is preparing her. The universe has placed her in that quiet, hidden space so she can grow in ways she never could before. Every strong woman you admire today has a season of solitude behind her strength. Every confident woman has cried quietly at night. Every fearless woman has stood alone at some point. Every wise woman has walked through loneliness. and met herself there. Think about a simple example from everyday life. Imagine a woman who always leaned on her partner for emotional support. When something felt wrong, she called him. When she felt sad, she depended on him. When she felt unsure, she waited for his direction. Then one day, suddenly, he leaves. At first, her world falls apart. She feels lost because the person she always turned to is gone. Now something changes. She is forced to sit with her own thoughts. She is forced to understand her feelings. She is forced to make choices. She is forced to depend on herself. Slowly, she begins to notice strengths she never knew were there. The first time she solves a problem on her own, she realizes she is not as weak as she once believed. The first night she cries, then wakes up and still moves through her day, she sees her own resilience. The first time she smiles without waiting for someone else to create that smile, she understands that her happiness lies within her. This is change. This is growth. This is the quiet power of solitude. Think about a mobile phone. When the battery runs low, you connect it to a charger. But while it charges, you stop using it. Why? Because it needs that silent, disconnected time to regain full power. If you keep using it, it never fully charges. A woman's solitude works the same way. She steps back from noise, drama, expectations, and constant demands. Not because she is broken, but because she is recharging. She is rebuilding emotional, mental, and spiritual energy, and when she returns, she is different. She comes back stronger, clearer, calmer, and more grounded. Solitude teaches lessons no relationship can teach. It helps a woman hear her own voice. It shows her how to protect her peace. It teaches her the difference between needing someone and choosing someone. It reminds her that being alone is not the same as being lonely. You can be alone and feel calm, and you can be surrounded by people and still feel empty. That is why solitude is not punishment. Punishment breaks you. Transformation rebuilds you. Punishment weakens you. Transformation strengthens you. Punishment isolates you. Transformation lifts you higher. When life gives a woman solitude, it is offering her a meeting with the strongest version of herself. It is giving her space to rewrite her story. Space to breathe. Space to heal. Space to remember who she really is. One day, the same woman who cried in silence will look back and say, "That phase didn't destroy me. It shaped me." She will be grateful for the quiet that taught her to listen to her own heart. She will be grateful for the darkness that taught her to create her own light. She will be grateful for the empty space that allowed her to grow into someone she never imagined becoming. Remember this deeply. Solitude is not the end of a woman. It is the beginning of her transformation. When she walks through it with patience and courage, she doesn't just survive. She blooms. These words are not just motivation. They reflect the reality many women live every day. Strength does not always come from being held up by someone else. Sometimes the strongest kind of strength is built when a woman realizes she must stand on her own. Not because she planned to, but because life gave her no other option. Think about how a bird teaches its baby to fly. The mother feeds it, protects it, keeps it safe. Then one day, she pushes the baby out of the nest. In that moment, the baby feels terrified. It feels like it is falling. It doesn't understand the push. But that frightening moment becomes the start of its strength. As it falls, it discovers its wings. It learns how to fly. In the same way, when a woman is left alone, when emotional support disappears, when the man she trusted steps away, when the people she leaned on are no longer there, she feels like she is falling. She feels scared. She feels abandoned. But that moment becomes her push. And slowly, she discovers her wings. Many women never realize how powerful they are until they are forced to stand alone in a situation they never expected. Think again of a woman who built her emotional world around her partner. When she is upset, she calls him. When she is confused, she asks him. When she is afraid, she seeks comfort from him. Then life changes. a breakup, distance, misunderstanding, and suddenly is gone. At first she breaks. Everything feels unstable, but then something quiet begins to happen. One day she faces a problem with no one to solve it for her, and she solves it. One evening she feels lonely, yet she survives it. One moment she cries, wipes her own tears, and keeps going. With each small moment she becomes stronger, not loudly, not all at once, but quietly, steadily, beautifully. Strength is not built overnight. It is built in the unseen moments of everyday life. When a woman chooses to stand instead of falling apart, she learns to trust herself. She learns to calm her own fears. She learns to handle her emotions. And in that process, she becomes someone unshakable. She learns to become her own support. That is true strength. Let me give you a simple example from daily life. Picture a tree standing alone in an open field. No other trees around it, no shelter from wind, rain, storms, or heat. When the storm arrives, it sways hard. But because it has no one to lean on, its roots grow deeper into the ground. Over time, it becomes so firmly rooted that no storm can pull it out. Trees that grow close together often have shallow roots because they rely on each other for support. A woman who learns to stand on her own becomes like that tree. Her emotional roots go deep. She becomes grounded, steady, mature, and aware of who she is. Standing alone teaches a woman something priceless. She is enough. She does not need someone to approve of her. She does not need someone to complete her. She does not need someone to tell her she is capable. She becomes her own source of strength. Let me give you another everyday example. Think of a woman who once depended on her partner for financial security. She would often say to herself, "He'll take care of it." But when she finds herself alone, whether for a short time or forever, she learns to manage things on her own. She learns how to budget, plan, save, and make decisions. At first it feels heavy and overwhelming, but little by little confidence grows. One day she realizes, "I can handle this. I don't have to rely on anyone." That realization, that moment, changes her life. Standing alone does not make her distant. It makes her brave. It does not make her emotionless. It makes her emotionally strong. It does not harden her heart. It strengthens her spirit. Some women find their strength while raising children alone. Some find it when they move to a new city. Some find it after deep heartbreak. Some find it when people they trusted walk away. And some find it in silence. In those quiet nights when they finally choose not to cry anymore. Here is the truth. A woman standing alone is not a woman who lost someone. She is a woman who found herself. She learns how to set boundaries. She learns how to say no. She learns how to love herself. She learns how to enjoy her own company. She learns that being alone is not frightening. It is empowering. People around her begin to notice. They feel her confidence. They admire her independence. They respect her strength. They are inspired by her growth. The woman who once doubted herself now carries a quiet, fearless presence. She becomes someone who cannot be easily controlled, manipulated, or broken. Because once a woman learns to stand alone, she stops fearing loneliness. She stops begging for love. She stops accepting disrespect. She stops letting someone else decide her worth. Her strength becomes her protection. Her independence becomes her power. Her self-respect becomes who she is. That is why a woman becomes stronger when she learns to stand alone. Not because she wanted to be alone, but because life gave her a moment to rise. And she chose courage. She did not just survive, she changed. This may sound surprising because when a woman's heart breaks, it feels like everything is falling apart. There is confusion, pain, betrayal, and an emptiness words cannot fully explain. It feels like life has paused, like the world has gone quiet. But here is something most people never realize. Heartbreak can teach a woman lessons that comfort never could. It can open her eyes, wake her soul, and deepen her understanding of life, relationships, and herself. We often think heartbreak only destroys. But for many women, heartbreak becomes the start of transformation, the start of inner growth, the start of a wiser, deeper, more awakened version of herself. Think of a simple piece of clay. When it is untouched, it looks ordinary. But when a potter begins to knead it, press it, break its shape, and reshape it, that is when it starts to matter. It becomes a cup, a vase, a lamp, something meaningful. The clay must go through pressure, fire, and struggle before it becomes valuable. If you see the clay in the middle of that process, it looks like it is breaking, but the potter knows it is becoming something new. In the same way, when a woman goes through heartbreak, she feels broken. But life, something greater, is reshaping her into someone wiser, stronger, clearer, and more grounded. Heartbreak pushes her onto a path she never asked for, but deeply needed. Let's bring this back to real life. Imagine a woman who trusted someone completely. She gave her emotions, her loyalty, her time, her energy. She believed the future was safe. She believed she was loved. Then one day, the truth comes out. The person she trusted was dishonest. He lied. He betrayed her. He walked away. In that moment, her heart breaks open. She feels lost. She feels buried under questions with no answers. She asks herself, was I not enough? She questions her worth, her choices, her identity. But slowly, very slowly, something shifts. The same pain that pushed her down begins to lift her up. One day she realizes she no longer waits for messages that never arrive. Another day she notices she no longer cries over memories that once